Okay, so once you have your top, it's time for borders. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and we are going to finish up our Sweetest Pie bench pillow. I don't know if it'll get done before Christmas or before Thanksgiving, but that is definitely the goal, and I'm pushing hard for it. So we have our top done. We have the entire, all of the blocks are done. Yay! Isn't it cute? Oh my goodness, I love this. So once we have that, all of the blocks done, then it's time to work on the borders. So I'm hoping these are going to be pretty simple, and the outer borders are in piecing. If you know me, then you know I kind of squeal over piecing projects. I love the piecing projects. So the outer borders are going to be super fun. So, but first we have to do the inner borders. So for the inner borders, we're going to use this purple star fabric. So we're going to start with these at 1.5 by 16.5. We want 2 of them, 2 pieces, 1.5 by 16.5. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer, and I'm also going to back them with batting, and I'll show you that when we get there. Your batting, you're going to want to have it at 1 by 16. 1 by 16 for your batting, and we're going to just let the excess run over. So I'm going to show you on the computer, but if we do the quilting on this, there's not a 16-inch option. We need 16 inches quilted, but the longest one is 14 inches. So depending on your hoop size, I'm going to do 2 of the 10-inch, which is actually 9.5 inches. So it'll be 19, but I'm just going to let the excess run off of the end that will not have batting on it. So you'll see as we get there, that won't be a problem. If you have a 5 by 7 as your biggest hoop, for the inner borders, you're going to want to do 3 hoopings of 5 by 7 for each strip. 3 hooping, so that will total out, what is it? It was 7 inches, so 21 inches. So again, you'll just let the excess run off of the edge. So that's for our inner borders, 2 pieces at 1.5 by 16.5, and we're going to quilt this with Border Food 2 in the 1-inch width. And again, depending on your hoop size, the length, but we want a full 16 inches of quilting if we can manage it. Hey everyone, so I am going to merge some things together on our inner and outer borders. And I'm going to just show you quickly how to do that if you choose to do the same. So I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials, and I've already loaded these in just to show you. So the size on the 7-inch, you can see down here, it is actually 7-inch. The one for the 10-inch, I'm on the wrong hoop, but oh, this is the 12-inch. Let's see, what does it say? This is the 10-inch. So this one, the size is just about 9.5 inches long. And then this one must be the 12-inch. Let's see, where are we? It's not clicked. The 12-inch is just under 12 inches, so 11.75. So depending on your hoop size, I'm going to go ahead and do the 6 by 10 hoop and use the 10-inch. It's the 1 by 10-inch. And then I'll just have the excess. So I'm going to open up a new page, file new page, and I'm going to bring in that quilting design. So right here, and it is the Border Food 2 block by block version and Pez. And we're going to look for the 1 by 10 is the one that I'm going to use. None of them will give us exactly 16 inches, so this one will give us the best option to be able to have the excess just run off. And we'll use our batting on our fabric so that we don't have to worry about that. So let's see, what hoop am I on? I'm on an 8 by 12. I'm going to go ahead and change. Actually, I think we'll need the 6 by 10. It won't fit. So I'm going to go ahead and keep, I'll probably do 7 by 12. Going to matter. All right, so I'm on my 7 by 12 hoop, and all I'm going to do is merge these two. So if I, let's see here, if I just change the colors like we always do, then we can make them join together. So this first one, default 1 blue, I'm going to change to dark aqua, and the second one, default 2 orange, default 2 orange, I'm going to change to blaze. And the third one, you can see the numbers right here, 1, 3. I'm going to go to the next color we haven't used because we used dark aqua, so I'm going to go to Marine. And like I've said in all these videos, it doesn't matter what color you want, you just want to have it be the same color so that they will join. All right, this light orange is different because it doesn't come across all the way. That's why it's not the usual blue and orange. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this one because it should join already. We couldn't keep these because then it would join with each other and we wouldn't want that. So the turquoise, again, I'm going to go ahead and keep it because I want that to join with the next one. So these are already all done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the whole design and I'm going to say Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste. And then I have the second one. All right. I'm just going to move it to the center. All right, so those are already all the right color so that it should join perfectly. So we have 10 steps right now. We should be able to get it down to 5. So utility, color sort, and we reduced by 5. So new view, we always want to check it, even if it's such a simple one. You just want to make sure that it did what we wanted it to do. So there's the placement for the batting, which actually we're not going to use because I'm going to add batting onto my strip so that I don't have to worry about batting on the ends that we are going to sew together. So actually we won't need this. You can go ahead and delete that step if you want. I'm going to keep it just to remember to tell everyone to bypass it for those that aren't using embroidery software. And same thing with the second one. This is the tack down of the batting. We're not going to use that for those of us that are going to add our batting onto our fabric strips. So you can delete that if you choose. And then the third one, this is the placement of the strip. So we want this one because this will show us where to line it up. And then this fourth one is the tack down. And it should still tack down, I think. I'm not absolutely certain. It should, because it comes in a little bit, yeah. So we should be okay for the tack down. And then, and they're both joined, so that's perfect. And then we have the quilting design on both, so that's perfect. All right, so that's done. I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I am going to name it, I think I'm going to save it actually in my quilting bundle. Let's see, all right. Order food 2, embroidery files block by block. I use Pez for my machine. And I'm just going to name it 1 by 10 double so that I know I have 2 of those. And say save. All right, my machine's not on yet, so I am not going to send it to my machine. I'll do it in a bit. So that one is done. You can transfer it to your USB stick or transfer it to your machine and get ready for your the inner borders. We'll need to do 2 hoopings to be able to get the full 16-inch length. All right, so next up we're going to do the outer borders. So there's a lot of fabrics for the outer borders. So I'm just going to go over them really quickly. The biggest tip that I will give you when you're doing any piecing project is to put them in the order that you're going to use them. That makes it so much easier. So each of these will start with a square, the square that's in the middle, and then 4 pieces around that square, and then 4 pieces around that, all right? So we're going to make 2 of 4 different blocks, A, B, C, and D, 2 of each of those. So like I said, put them in order. So it'll look like this. So 2 different packets for block A. This is just one of the blocks, all right? But we're going to do 2 of them. So the square block is this tan petal fabric, and we're going to start with this at 3.5 by 3.5. And again, you want 2 of these. And then the second one for block A is the orange velveteen, and you want 4 pieces of this for each block. So a total of 8, but 4 for each block. So this one, we are going to start with this at 2 by 3. So this way, 2 by 3, and 4 pieces for each one of block A, and we want 2 of block A. So 8 pieces total. And then for the outer square, so it's inner square, middle square, and outer square. So for the outer square, we want this tan striped fabric, and we want this to be at 2.5 by 4, and we want 4 pieces for each block. So a total of 8, and put them in the order. So like I said, the square, the inner is the velveteen, and then the outer, 4 pieces. So 1 and 4 and 4, and then you want all of that again, another set of that same 1 middle square, 4 inner square, and 4 outer square. All right, so that's for block A. For block B, we're going to start with our middle square. Let's see, inner square, that's what it's called, sorry, inner square. And this one again is going to be 3.5 by 3.5, and we want 2 of these, 1 for each of the B blocks. So it's the brown star fabric. And then we want 4 pieces of the inner square. I don't know if it's called square, just inner. But anyway, 4 pieces, and this is the gold silky solid, 4 pieces, and this is 2 by 3, 4 of them for each of the B blocks, so a total of 8. And then 4 pieces for this really pretty lavender petal fabric, and again, 4 for 1 block of block B and 4 for another block of block B, so a total of 8. All right, so 2 packs of those. All right, that's for B. And then for C, we're going to start with the middle square is this pinkish, peachish velveteen. All right, nice soft. And this one, just like the others, is going to be 3.5 by 3.5, and we want 2 of these, 1 for one of block C and 1 for another of block C. So 3.5 by 3.5 of the velveteen, and then 4 pieces of the yellow with flowers on it, and then another 4 for the other set. So 4 pieces, and I did back all of my pieces, not the velveteen, but all the other pieces with fusible stabilizer. I find it easier to fold and to keep everything, but that's really personal choice. So I'm going to use the Clover folding pen. Some people find it harder with the fusible stabilizer on the back, so you do you, figure out what works for you. So we're on block C, and this is for the middle part, and we want 4 pieces of this yellow. And then for the outer square, we're going to have 4 pieces of this cream colored with lines all over it, and then 4 for the other of block C. So a total of 8, and 4 pieces, like I said, it's a cream colored with lines all over it. So you have 1 set with the velveteen, the 4 pieces of the inner and 4 pieces of the outer, and then another set of the exact same, okay? So we got to make sure that you've got these in order of how you're going to use them, and that you've got it set for 2 of block C. All right, then for block D, it is this really cute purple violet doodle fabric, all right? And we're going to start with this at 3.5 by 3.5. And 2 pieces, 1 for one block D and another for the other block D. And then for the inner part, it is the like arrows, lines on the cream fabric, 4 pieces of that, and this is going to be again at 2 by 3, 2 by 3, 4 pieces for one block and 4 pieces for the other block. And then a coral pink colored silky solid, that one's hard to see with the light, 4 pieces, and this one is 2.5 by 4, 2.5 by 4, and 4 pieces for one and 4 pieces for the other. So you've got one full set for block D and then another full set for block D, okay? Those are the pieces that we need for the outer borders, and I'm going to bring them to the machine and see what we can merge together so that we can do them together and save on a little bit of time. These will take some time because we need 8 blocks, but they're going to be really fun. I think these will be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to the computer and see. By the way, let me tell you about the quilting first. So the quilting we will do after they're all assembled, I believe, if I recall. We are going to use Border Food 2 in a 4-inch width. Border Food 2 in a 4-inch width. I think that's the one that has all the pies on it that we used for the gather block. So anyway, Border Food 2 in a 4-inch, and again, it'll just depend on your hoop size. Once there's all together, it's going to be 4, 8, 16. So we probably want 16.5 inches total length, but we'll go over that when we get there. Okay, so let's go to the computer and see what we can merge together. For the outer borders, I want to show you, I went ahead and I put a bunch of them into a 10 by 16 hoop. So you can fit as many as 6 in a 16-inch hoop. I'm not going to do that. To me, there's this amount of room. I'm going to be like stressing over trying to make sure that none of the fabrics overlap, and some people can handle that better than me. For me, I think that this will just be too stressful. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I've got those. Yep. Okay, so I'm on this one. I'm going to say File, New Page, and I've got Untitled 6, and then I'm just going to take one of these and copy it. And again, I just brought the 6 in to be able to show you how many that you could fit in a 10 by 16 hoop if you're super brave. I think I'm going to do 2 in one hooping. All right, so let's see, if it's 8 inches, I could use, each one is 4, 8. I could probably fit them in my 10-inch hoop. I might go for 12. Let's just see how it looks. So right now I'm on my 7 by 12 hoop. I'm going to say Control V to paste that and bring it over to the center, making absolutely sure. Now notice that this goes over this line here. So you want to make sure when you're setting this up, you don't want to bring this so far over. Like say you put it here thinking, oh, this fits because of this. Well, it doesn't. Because of this part that overlaps, it will not fit. And what will happen is you think it will, and it'll save here fine, and then you'll bring it over to your machine, and your machine will freak out at you and say, no, I can't do it. So make sure, always use those black squares to be able to use your guide to get it inside of the hoop. So right there. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm going to go ahead and make the changes on this one before I bring in another one. My stomach's growling, sorry. So we're in this square in a square hoop or design, and on all of these we can change up the colors and make it so that we can work on 2 at a time, and to me that would save some time and make it easier. So I'm going to do that. So this default 5 Viking, this is the template, and there won't be another Viking in here, and so I'm going to go ahead and keep that. That will be fine. But all these blues and oranges, those would all join together and defeat the purpose of being able to put down a fabric. So I am not going to keep this. I'm going to change the color. So I'm just going to click on default 1 blue, which is 1, 2, and I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to change it to the first one we see, which is dark aqua. And then the next one, 1, 3, orange, I'm going to change it to blaze. 1, 4, click on that and click on the color. We already used dark aqua, I'm going to use marine. And then 1, 5, click on the color, and we already used blaze, so I'm going to use Oriole. And say okay. And then 1, 6, click on the color. We already used the first two, so I'm going to jump down to the Hawaiian blue. And again, it can be whatever color comes up for you. If your colors come up differently, just remember which ones that you've already used. That's all that matters. All right, and then this number 17, I'm going to click on the color, and we already used the first two. I'm going to use coral. And you can always check right here to make sure that you're using different colors. All right, and then we're on 18. Click on the color, and I'm going to use Mercury. And then orange for 19, I'm going to use Lava. And then number 10, I'm going to click on the color, and we used, let's see, we used Mercury last time, so I'm going to use Tropical. And then for the orange, I'm going to use Strawberry Blonde. And for 112, I'm going to use, let's see, our last one was Tropical, so I'm going to use Robin's Egg. And for the orange, our last one was Strawberry Blonde. This is 113. I'm going to use Autumn. And for 114, our last one was Robin's Egg. So I went down a little too far. There's Robin's Egg. I'm going to use Fog. And for 115, click on the color, and our last one was Autumn. And I'm going to use Salmon. And then for 116, our last one was Fog. Scroll down, and I'm going to use Aqua. And for 117, click on the color, and our last one was Salmon. So I'm going to use Safety Orange. All right, and then this shadow, that's the for the entire design to tack down all of it, and I'm going to just keep that because there's not another shadow in it, and that's all of them. So those are all changed. We changed all the colors so that they will all join together. We currently have 18 steps. Actually, we're going to have 36 because we're going to double this. Depending on your hoop size and depending how you want to do it, I'm going to put 2 in one hooping. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the design. You can see I've got all of it highlighted, and I'm going to say Control-C, and then I'm going to say Control-V to copy and paste it. And it goes right over the top, so I'm just going to click on it and drag it down. Now again, you want to make sure to not go over that hoop line at all. So you make sure that you can see that black square, and then you'll be fine. So to me, this is a good amount of rim to be able to have for the excess fabric. You could, like I said, you could put them all together like this, and then you can just trim your fabrics. You don't want to trim them enough that they don't go over this line though, because you want it all to tack down. So to me, it's just easier. It's definitely more stabilizer and more work. If you want to try and get 6 in one hooping, that would be great. We need a total of 8 blocks. So either way, you're going to have a minimum of 2 hoopings. But the way I'm doing it, I'm going to have 4 hoopings. So it's really a matter of preference and patience level, I guess. But you could definitely do more in one hooping if you choose. You could even probably do 2 off to the side and 1 in the middle on a larger hoop. But I'm okay with this. I'm using my 7x12 hoop, and that will work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and utility color sort. You want to decide on your hoop size and how many you want before you do this joining though, because once you join it, then it's all together in one step and you won't be able to make changes. So it's been reduced by 18. So remember we had 36, so now we're down to 18. So it's probably perfect, but let's look through it first to make sure. So new view creates another tab so that we can see what we've done here. So we've got the template for both. The first one together to, this is actually 1-3 together, 1-4 all together, 1-5 together, 1-6 together, 1-7 together, 1-8 together, 1-9 together, 1-10, perfect, 1-11, 1-12, 1-13, 1-14, 1-15, and 1-16. And there's more, 117, and then the last one. All right, so that's all, those are perfect. So one thing is that if it stresses you out to put the fabrics down together or to fold it and have them both in place, you could do one, you could bring two designs. You could just not do that color sort and you could have them separate and you do one block at a time, but then you're still at least saving stabilizer. So whatever your patience level is and however you want to do it works great. You can do a bunch in one hooping, a couple in one hooping. You could do them joined or not joined. Lots of options here. So this works for me, so I'm going to go ahead and save stitch file as, and it opens up to my border quilting. That's not what I want, so I'm going to go up to my desktop and find my Sweet as Pie, bench pillow, embroidery files, Pez, and then I'm going to name this as, should I call it outer border or square? I don't have my paper here. I'm just going to say outer border 2 blocks. Whatever you want to name it. That'll make you remember what you've got. And then, like I said, we will quilt it after it's all sewn together, is if I recall from the directions. So we'll go over that in a bit too. Save. All right. So let's go ahead and get started on these borders. Hey everyone, so real quick, I am going to show you how to easily join a couple of these outer border blocks. So what I figured out is that each of these in 2 squares totals up to 4.5 by 8.5. So that means we would want a quilting design that's 4 by 8. If you tried to do all 4 in one hooping, it would be roughly 16 inches long, not counting the 1/4 inch seam allowance. The problem with that is that the longest quilting design is, because we're using a border quilting design, the longest one is 4 by 14. That's not long enough. 4 by 12 doesn't work. 4 by 7, we would need 3 of them, and that would be way too long. So really, the only option that I foresee is a 4 by 10. And like I said, this is 4 by 8. We need a 4 by 8 quilting design. And if we choose to use the border, you could use a regular quilting design if you choose. But if you want to use the border design, then we could do a 4 by 10 and just let the excess run off, because this would be a 4 by 8. So what I did is I added batting onto the backing, so that we don't have to worry about having it be the batting in our seams. We'll know that it will just finish and run off onto the stabilizer off of this excess, and it's not going to matter because we will not have batting there. So that's the easiest way. So we just need a couple of these. I'm going to use my 10 by 10 hoop, and I'm going to do 2 in one hooping. And when I say 2, it's really 4, because you can see I've already sewn together some of the blocks. So that's how I'm going to do it. That's the only way that I can figure out as far as getting all 16 inches quilted. So like I said, you could do a 4 by 8 twice and have a 16 inch. You could use your 10 by 16 hoop, sew these together, and do 4 by 8 design twice in one hooping and be done. But I want to use the border design. I think that that's really cute with the pies and cherries, and it's a really cute border design. So I'm going to do that, and it will just take 2 hoopings doing this way, right? Yes, because as long as we've sewn together 2 of the quilting designs, it doesn't make sense to do more than that. Because if you did, say that you did 3 and you did a 4 by 12, well then you're doing 1 by itself, and the only option is a 4 by 7. There's no 4 by 4. So it just makes more sense to me anyway to do a 4 by 10. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Embellishment Essentials. I'm on my 10 by 10 hoop. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to just go to the border design, and let's see. Border Food 2 and embroidery files block by block. I use Pez for my machine, and then we're looking for a 4 by 10. So like I said, there's a 14, there's a 12, and there's a 7. Must be further down here, right there, 7. So those are the options on border sizes, and we have 16 inches to fill up. So to me, the best option is the 4 by 10. So that's what I'm going to do. So it is right here, 4 by 10 Border Food 2. Double click on that, and then watch how easy this is. So just bring one over here. I'm not going to use the first and second because, like I said, I added the batting onto the back. If you decide to add the batting onto the back, you just want 4 by 8 batting. And you can see from the lines from our template exactly where the batting will fit in. So you don't want it to go over. You want to make sure to have your 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. And then since we're doing that, we can delete step 1, which is the placement for the batting. And then step 2 is the tack down of the batting. And we already have both of those, so we don't need that. So I'm clicking delete on my keyboard. So then we have the placement for the strip, and we do want that. And then we have the tack down of the strip, and I like to use that, then I don't worry so much about it moving around. And then we have the quilting design, and you can see they're all different colors, so we don't even need to change any colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Control C to copy this, and then Control V to place another one. It goes right on top. Click anywhere on the stitching and move it over to the side. And just remember to make sure that you can see those black squares so that nothing is over the hoop. And we don't need a whole lot of rim in between because this is a 1/4 inch on each side over, so you'll have a little bit overage, but not much. So I'm using my 10 by 10, and like I said, it will just run off because we're going to do we need 4 by 8 quilting, and this is a 10-inch size quilting. You can see if you click on it, it's actually 9.5. So we'll have 1.5 inches of extra quilting at the bottom here, and it will just run off onto the stabilizer, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and join this so that we have a little bit less steps. We have 6 right now, very easy. So I'm going to say utility color sort, and it reduces it by 3. Click on new view, and there is the placement for the strip and the tack down of the strips. This is the outer border when I say strips, and then the quilting design. So that's perfect. That's exactly how I want it to be. So I am going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to say 4 by 10 double and save, and then I'm going to send it to my machine, and I'll be able to do this in 2 hoopings. So depending on your hoop size, you can do several options, but you can do each of them separately. You could sew the 4 strips together and do bits by bits, however you want to do it, but this just makes the most sense to me, especially adding the batting onto the backing. All right, so let's get started on quilting our outer borders.